Harley-Davidson ones will go for up to $300–400. How many do you have of these?
300 shirts,
300.
250 shirts.
This looks like a big hunk of gold.
Okay. This is gold that people sell you at gas stations. Okay?
Who keeps the box? I mean, really, it sits empty.
And if you have one of these still sealed in the plastic, now you're looking at maybe $1,000.
Wow.
A friend of mine bought at Value Village a jersey for $5. It ended up being original Green Bay Packers. He sold it for $15,000.
From the Zoomerplex in historic Liberty Village, the Zoomer with Marissa Lennox.
Welcome to the Zoomer. I'm Marissa Lennox. Ever wondered how much you could get for your floral china, mahogany dressers, crystal and collectible figurines? You could be sitting on a gold mine or a trash heap. Still, spending a little time determining whether your antique has any value may just be worth the effort. At the round table are appraisal pros, including Paul Kenny, host of Zoomer Radio's Consignment Heroes, here to share their expertise and tell if that heirloom has more than just sentimental value. Members of our audience were invited to bring in their antiques to be appraised, and Paul and his team are standing by to determine their worth. But before we dive in, let's tee up the topic.
Whether you're selling furniture, buying art, or trading vintage vinyl for vintage jewelry, anytime you buy, sell, or swap a used item, you contribute to the second-hand economy. Last year, 4 out of 5 Canadians participated in the resale market, fueling a $27.3 billion industry. That's equal to 1.23% of Canada's GDP. And if you needed a reason to choose secondhand, Canadians earn an average of $961 per year through selling, and save an average of $723 per year through buying. Not to mention, extending the life of products is a boon for the planet.
Now, Paul, it's obvious that the resale market is booming. Now, I'm curious, though, when customers come into your shop, are they overly optimistic about what they're going to get for their products, generally speaking, or what are they telling you?
I hear this story all the time. Someone offered me $1,000 for this, and I say now it's worth $200. And I say, this is now, and that was then, you should have sold it then. But they have it now. And a lot of people, there's a lot of stuff coming out of the market right now. People are downsizing. They're downsizing a lot. They'll always take cash. And some people just say, get this stuff out of here. I don't care. You know, it's in the trunk now. It's either your place or the garbage heap.
Let's consider gold and silver, because this is a really interesting one. It does hold actual value. Yeah. What do people need to consider when they're going to sell their gold and their silver? I know you've got a couple coins here. Can
I go over there?
Yeah.
What we have here, we're going to talk about gold later on the show. This happens to be a 1-ounce gold bar, okay? It's either 1,600 US or 2,100 Canadian. I want to make that, we're going to talk about that later on, but throw that to the side. Now, this lady here, this brought in this is older. These are 1948 silver dollars, which I'm going to show right here. There's 2 of them. And I have this other interesting piece that someone brought in. I'll take it out of here. It's older. It's silver, just like those. But this here, I will own this for almost a day before I melt it. It's only silver value.
Does it have King George on it or something? What is it?
Yeah, there's a lot of them. All the coins, all the English coins and all the Canadian coins had King George between 1936 and 1952.
So why doesn't that hold any value?
It does have some value. It's worth, if I weigh it up, this will be about $1.50, which is more than...
I would think that a coin with King George's face on it would be more valuable than $1.50.
I wish I had more customers like you. No, on this case here, they made a lot of them. Most of our coins, 95% of the stuff that comes in is accumulated. They just took it out of their change. So this is not in great shape. You can't see the hairlines. You can barely see his ears. It's not in collectible condition. This is going to go just to be melted.
Now, these are coins with King George's face on them.
Yes.
And these are more valuable. Why? And what are they worth?
This is 1948. It's got King George on the other side. This is probably worth about $1,800. Retail.
Is that because of the size of it?
This is because of the condition that it's in.
And the rarity.
And the rarity, okay? So in 1949, which is 1 year later, is worth $12 of silver. With the 1948, you have to throw the math out, okay, because it's collectible. This is what happened in this time period is that India left the Commonwealth, so they had to change a lot of things. So there's new dies. So they made a lot less 48s than anything else. In 48, they ran out of time, and they only made, I think, 35 or 40. I can't remember the exact number. There's a low mintage on these.
So I would be remiss then to not ask. Queen Elizabeth is on all of our coins.
Yep.
She's turning 95. Eventually, her reign will come to an end, I know. What is going to happen with our coins? Will they become more valuable overnight?
No.
No. What do you say?
There's far too many being minted. Millions and millions at a time. So there's no rarity. Rarity breeds value.
What about 100 years from now?
Well, most of our coins are printed in nickel now, and they're really durable.
Yeah.
We'd have to see a significant portion of those get destroyed somehow. And since they're not silver, they're not getting melted for silver, there's no reason for them to go away, right? They'll last forever.
They'll last forever.
99% of our customers are not there for the coins. They really don't care. They're in there for the silver and the gold, and that's it. The collector part, they're paying a high premium on the silver, okay? So that breaks that down. Like I say, I'd rather buy these. This, like I said, goes right to the melt.
Got it. Got it. All right. Well, let's consider some. Well, how about jewelry? This looks like a big hunk of gold.
Okay. This, and I want to alert people to this. And someone came up to me the other day. I mean, this is what we call gas station gold.
What is gas station gold?
This is gas station that people. This is gold that people sell you at gas stations. Okay. Literally. That's a lot of tungsten. That's what this is. Okay.
Oh boy.
If this was real gold, weigh that, Seth, or someone's got a scale. We had a scale. It weighs about 10 grams. 10 grams at 18 karat, that's about $400.
How often do you see those?
I've had 2 dealers be fooled with them already.
3 a day?
Yeah.
Easily 3 a day.
And we know about it, and so they're going around, and the people who said, oh, 20, how many?
22 grams.
22 karat grams. This is $800 worth of gold, you think, until I come in and tell you it's nothing. It's just a nice color.
Yeah, yeah.
But I want to alert, that's just a very important thing. I wish people would know about this because the cops can't do anything with it because people are gone. I had a guy, I took his picture, but he dashed off.
If you want to alert folks how to spot that particular scam ring, they may change the fronts, but the back of them, inside the front is where they always stamp the 18K on this particular run of fakes. We've seen a lot of them. Yeah. So right inside here is where you'll see that 18 karat stamp. Most of your good jewelry, you're usually going to find your stamp down here in the band. Yep. But these ones, they all say 18K. They're not faking any other hallmarks, and they're always stamped right up in the middle of there.
Also, the color's not 18 karat. We know that because we're in the business. We're professionals. Okay?
So what among this collection is very valuable?
Just in gold. Now, this is hollow gold. This one actually weighs in. You'll say, oh, that doesn't weigh enough to be gold. It's actually hollow inside, okay? And this one here, depending on what the carat is, when you have gold, you need 3 things. You want to know the price that day, and because we're in Canada, in Canadian funds. So if it says on one of these radio stations or TV stations that gold is $15.55, that's in U.S. funds. At today's rates, it'd be $2,073 per ounce instead of $15.85. Because some people say, you'd say this 1 ounce gold here. They say, I'll give you $1,585. You are getting ripped off. Okay? Because this is really $2,100. We're allowed to make money as dealers. We're not allowed to retire on every deal.
You know, it's scary for someone who's looking to buy or sell this gold because how are they to know this information?
Well, you need a garden scale that you can buy for $12 at one of the big box stores, okay? You need a calculator or be very good at math, and you need a magnifying glass.
All right.
And then we can test it.
All right, well, when we come back, we'll take a look at some unique items our audience brought from around their homes. That's next.
The expensive dolls, think up to $20,000. And it's mainly for the heads, the porcelain heads, original clothes, and because they won't last them.
Welcome back. We're joined by Paul Kenny of Zoomer Radio's Consignment Heroes and his go-to experts. Let's take a look at some of those household items brought in by our audience members, starting with this contraption. What is this?
This is a Radiola 26 that was built in 1924. And it was designed by Westinghouse Corporation for RCA.
Wow. Does it still work?
It still works.
Now, I always say I know a lot, but sometimes I don't know something. I rely on my experts. If I was relying on an expert to be my radio expert, it'd be you. What is this thing worth? It's a beautiful piece.
This one started out in pieces. It came out, it was on eBay, it got packed improperly, and it took about 400 hours to put it back together.
400 hours? Wait a minute, okay, now.
And what did you spend on it, though?
About $200. So it would sell for about $900 Canadian.
Is that what you'd be willing to part with it for?
Well, it's one of my pieces that I love, so it's.
Wait a minute.
So it's not for sale.
I have a hard time parting with
Marissa,
anything.
here's what we have. We have the radio in one hand, and we're going to have a pile of money in the other hand. How much money do we have to put in the other hand, to get this radio?
Oh, it wouldn't be for sale. It's just for show. I'm sorry. Oh.
You're disappointing a lot of people. One of them is very, very important to us. I have this louse killer here, and you're my louse for the day. You're not selling me this item. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you very much for bringing this in.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, next.
Who is the proud owner of this doll? Come on up.
Come on up.
Tell us a little bit about this.
I bought this doll at an estate auction at the old Guild Inn about 40 years ago.
Okay.
And it's obvious she was hand-carved for some little girl and lovingly painted and very unique and one of a kind. And I just wanted to give her a home.
Do you want to give her a new home? Are you selling this doll?
What did
or
you
just
buy
want to
it
get it
for?
appraised?
I've always been curious about what she would be worth.
Okay. Bits of wood, body, no name, not French, not German. If I was putting this out, I'd be putting it out for about 300. So, and hoping to get a good offer on it. Mainly the dolls that are worth a lot of money are the ones that'll be on the back. They'll be bisque heads, and it'll be the name of the maker will be on the back of the doll, right here. And this is a wooden carved doll. It might be a folk piece.
That's more folk art, I think.
Yeah,
than
more
a
folk
doll.
art.
That's what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
then, because the expensive dolls, I think up to $20,000, are the ones out of France and out of Germany.
Right.
And it's mainly for the heads, the porcelain heads, original clothes, and because they won't last. This thing here, being made out of wood, is pretty near indestructible.
All right. Well,
It's going to last for a while.
thank you for bringing her in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on. What's this?
This one, people bring stuff
turn it
in,
around.
and they want to say it's a case of something being old. It's not old. There's a newspaper on 1928. It's old, but it's not valuable. It's worth about $10, even though it's got Babe Ruth. Yes?
The interesting thing about newspapers is that it's really the topic, not the age. It
Yeah.
can go back to the 1800s. It doesn't matter. They disintegrate.
Yes.
Almost always. So they'll
This
go to
one
nothing.
looks like it is.
It starts, and another 100 years, it'll be gone.
Right.
But the most expensive newspaper ever, and I've dealt with many of them, but the sinking of the Titanic is the single most expensive newspaper. I had I think it was called the Toronto World at the time. I had the sinking Titanic, just a Toronto paper, all kinds of misinformation about, everyone's dead, there was nobody saved, because things would come by telegram or whatever. They had a lot of misinformation, but we sold that for about $2,000. And if you have one from Newfoundland where the bodies came in and things like that, it could be worth $5,000, $10,000.
Wow.
But very few other papers go for more than $100. People have John F. Kennedy assassination, things like they're worth nothing.
Yeah, yeah. All right, Paul, let's move on to this vase. So who's the owner of this vase? Come on up. Why don't you tell me a little bit about the vase?
I really don't know much about this vase at all, other than it came from my mother's great aunt. I have no idea how old it is. I'm assuming it's, fairly old, but that's really all the information I have. I don't know anything at all about it.
I'm going to have to pick it up. Just for a second. Okay. It's amethyst glass. This is actual silver adornment on it, along here. Probably 1920s, 1930s, when we're decorating glass. You can't get the silver back off. It's here forever. This used to be very popular in the 70s and 80s and would sell probably back then for about $85. Today, it'll sell for about $25. Sorry. Because there's a lot of stuff coming out that people, this will look great in the window. The purple will come through. The silver on it is nice. There's no wear to it, but it's very popular. Where I used to be able to sell dessert sets, and they would sell for $200. Now they go for $50.
There are a lot of vases.
There are a lot of vases. And does it come with instructions? I'm kidding.
All right. Well, thank you. I mean,
you.
the vase is absolutely beautiful. So let's take a look maybe at this pen here. Who's the owner of this? Tell us a bit about it.
This is a cigarette holder, an Art Deco cigarette holder that was owned by my aunt, who was also my godmother, and it passed to me when she passed away. It's made out of bakelite. It's got it encrusted with diamonds around the place where it actually unscrews. And I always remember her sitting at my parents' house using this, and I always thought it was extremely elegant.
Would you be willing to part with it?
No, not at all. No.
Everything has a value.
Everything has a value.
Remember
but
the two
what
hands.
value do you put on emotion?
Well, what would you say it's
okay.
worth?
The resurgence in this product right now is that, not that I'm condoning smoking, it is the other things have been made legal lately. And people are willing to buy paraphernalia to go with that. In today's market, this would probably sell between $100 and $150, where it would have been sold from. I know that's not a tremendous amount. The diamonds are just chips. It was probably cost someone back then a week's pay.
Right.
So this would have been one of her prized possessions. I'd like to see what other jewelry that she had, because this person obviously had taste.
Do you use it?
No. I'm not a smoker, and I wouldn't use it because I want to preserve it in as good a condition as possible anyway.
All right.
But it reminds me of my wonderful aunt, and that's priceless.
Okay. I have someone in the audience who they really want it, so I'm going to give this back to you now so it doesn't go missing. How's that?
Thank you.
All right.
And the case is probably worth about $60, just the case.
Yes.
You know,
Well, it's come from one of the best jewellers in Bond Street in London.
Wow.
It's an absolutely beautiful item, and I treasure it greatly.
Well, hang on to it then.
Yes, I will.
Well, thank you very much. All right, well, when we come back, we'll take a look at items that provide a snapshot of some major moments in music and sports. Don't go away.
The Babe Ruth is probably worth about $1,500 and the Gehrig worth about $1,000. They're beautiful photos, and the condition isn't perfect, but being that rare and being a Type 1, they're extremely valuable.
Zoomer Radio's Consignment Heroes. Paul, you are joined by some of your fellow experts in the world of sports memorabilia and games. What are some of the items here that catch your eye? I know what catches my eye. It's these Nintendo sets.
These are special. We know that the people in the audience didn't play these, but their kids and their grandkids did.
I played with these. I did. I played with these.
Have you moved out of home and left them at home with your parents?
Honestly, they're probably in the trash somewhere.
Trash?
Well, I don't play with them anymore.
Does your garbage man go around with a checkbook? Does he pay you money for this stuff?
Well, who would have thought? I mean, and the other thing about Nintendo, these types of games, is there's always a newer version year after year after year. And so you would think that those would be the most valuable.
Well, here's the thing. Like I was telling you before, rarity breeds value. There's lots and lots of the new game, less and less of these, especially ones that are still working. And like this with the box. Because these cartridges are made of plastic, they're really durable, the games, everyone just threw the boxes out, the cardboard box. You don't need it. Because they threw the boxes out, less boxes. So these games down here...
Who keeps the box? I mean, really, it sits empty.
And everyone has that same thought, which is why all the boxes went in the garbage. So this game here in box is worth $100. The game out of the box is worth $20.
Right.
So the box is worth $80.
Wow.
Right? But even if you have these without the boxes, they're very collectible now because young people or people my age even want to recapture their youth.
But do people like playing this over the newest technology that's...
I'd say now it's about 50-50 in the market between these things and the current stuff. Yeah. And everything that was popular 10 years ago is now at the bottom.
Yeah, so what would this be worth then?
About 150 bucks.
And what about this guy?
Same thing, about 150. But the value on this goes up and up if the box is in really nice shape or if the styrofoam inside the box is in really nice shape.
Wow.
And if you have one of these still sealed in the plastic, you forgot to give it a Christmas gift, Now you're looking at maybe $1,000.
$1,000, wow, amazing.
And some of these games are worth considerably more than the unit.
All right, okay,
We'll
let's...
give you our friend Seth here if you want to talk about the even more fun, rare games.
All right, come on over, Seth.
Yeah, for sure. So we actually go a little bit further back in time. So these are in like your mid and early 90s. This is actually in the era of when video games first started to come out. So video games started with the arcades. Everyone went to their like local pop shop, movie theaters, and they're just pumping in their corners. They're loving the stuff, but they can't bring the technology home. So in '82, Vectrex, this was one of the first systems that you were able to actually bring into your house. And upside to this is it's actually working. It's got a little controller that comes out and is actually working at home.
You can hear it.
Yeah, and it still has its original hum. So some collectors actually open it up, fix it so it doesn't have the hum. But off the collector that we bought it, he kept it all original, all intact. So it's still what it is.
Does the hum have any value?
It does, yeah, because it's authentic and it's never been opened. When someone goes into it and changes it, it's not original anymore. It's not a collector's item. And the games were so simple back then, but so complex on it. So with the game, the system, and a few extras, it's about $600 for something like this.
Would you enjoy playing with something like this?
I do, yeah.
Can you guys hear that, huh?
Yeah, the old school CRT.
Can you put a value on that hum for me?
$100. Yeah, the difference between a fixed one and an old one, yeah.
If my car hummed like that, I would want it fixed.
Oh, exactly.
Okay.
And then this stuff's Paul's.
Now this, you want this?
I do, because I think that my nephews would love it. I don't even know who Skeletor is.
This is popular about 1983. Because this is still in the package, this is worth about $350. At $350, it's going to only go up in price.
All right, let's take a look at these sports items down here. Well, let's start here. This looks like an original photograph, Babe Ruth.
Yes, these photographs were actually found in a scrapbook. Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth, there was Bustin' Babes and Larapin Lou. It was a barnstorming tour that they did, and it was one of their first games after the 28th season where they went out on this charity type tour also. But these old photos are around, and what we did to sort of enhance the value is get them slabbed, there's a company in California called PSA who does this, slabs photos, but they also identify them as being original. So if you see on those in the printing, it'll say Type 1 authentic. The Babe Ruth is probably worth about $1,500 and the Gehrig worth about $1,000. They're beautiful photos, and the condition isn't perfect, but being that rare and being a Type 1, they're extremely valuable, and we find those in scrapbooks all the time, original old photos. And part of it's the slabbing, which costs about $100 to do, but you only want to do it with good photographs, but when you have good ones, it probably adds $300-400 to the value.
All right, well, how about this jersey?
The jersey, and Paul and I were talking about how people often have jerseys in their basement or attic, and they don't know what they are because they've been handed down. And a particular type of jersey that's very tough to identify is football, because football, there's no team markings. And so people have these, they think it could be their kid's high school jersey, whatever. I mean, they really don't know. And to the extent that, it wasn't me, unfortunately, but a friend of mine bought at Value Village a jersey for $5. It ended up being original Green Bay Packers. He sold it for $15,000. Now, this particular jersey, this is Tommy Joe Coffey, played for Hamilton in the 60s into the early 70s, and they had what they called a barber pole on it. This is that style. And he wore this, and looks like a reasonable number of games, probably a full season. It's probably worth about $1,500 to $2,500.
So just be careful what you give to Goodwill, folks, because you could be sitting on a treasure. All right, there's more after the break. Stay tuned.
The time frame is right. He started working in the 50s. If she bought it in the 60s, it's unlikely to have been lithoed by then. And the price for something that size, $2,000 to $3,000 right now.
Kenyon's expert guests, they say art is in the eye of the beholder, but is that the case when it comes to art's value? Paul, we have a few pieces here. Where would you like to start? Well, actually, why don't we just start right here?
This is a great piece. This is from this is between 1890 and 1920. You can tell by the mark on the cups on it here. This is a picnic set.
Oh, a picnic set? You've got two massive flasks in here.
Not enough. When you travel 2 hours, because they're going 9 miles an hour in their car, to get anywhere, you want to make sure you're having a good time when you stay there, okay? So, yes, those would be for wine, brandy, and the heater is there. This is a great item. This is before we had television and radio, which we're all fans of, but this is before that. And this set here is this is a rich person's one, okay? This is faux ivory on these. The blades can be replaced. If I had this, I'd be selling this for around $300 without even thinking about it. And someone offered me $250, I'd say, well, come back when you got the rest of the money. You know, this is at least that. It's not complete. You're missing one dish. The spoon can be done, and these can be replaced. The knives can be replaced.
What would it have been worth back then?
This would have been $60, $70 in a Sears catalog or something like that. It would have been money, you know what I mean? Because it's nicely constructed. I wish it had a brand name on it. That's what I can't find. If it had a brand name, say this had Louis Vuitton on or something like that, then we're talking $8,000, $9,000 for people to collect it. This is a time when we had less entertainment. Like I brought this up to go with this. You're sitting in a field, drinking wine, and watching these pictures through the stereo viewer right here, okay? And this was what people did for entertainment. And these were very collectible. And they'd be looking through there, and this one is Her Majesty, Queen Victoria.
Yes.
Okay. So this will be people did for entertainment. This set here would go for, the viewer here is about $55 to $75. The sets can go $100, $200, $300 a set.
Wow.
Okay.
Let me take a look. I want to see what's inside here. Oh, that's so neat. Okay. All right. Well, let's move on to maybe this art down.
Entertainment's changed, hasn't it, over the years?
It sure has. Okay, who's the owner of this art? Come on up. I'll pass that to you. All right.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about this.
Oh, my wife, Ilsa. I'm George. This we got from my mother when my dad passed away. He got it from his parents. And they were in Toronto. They used to be property managers, and we're not too sure whether they were given that as a gift back in the 20s or 30s. And it was originally purchased from Britnell's art gallery. And I've talked to Mr. Britnell, and we're trying to just determine if this was one of the original copies.
But you wanted to be original, but that's not going to happen.
Right.
Okay. Because the original just sold for $8.2 million. Canadian or U.S., it doesn't matter. It's a lot of money. Okay? But this here, if it's as a print, an early print, is probably worth about $1,000.
Okay.
That Canadian or American? Do you care?
No.
Okay. But it's still nicely framed. The frame looks like an original frame from back then, and they would sell.
Yep.
The nice thing about it would sell right away.
It has signage on the back of it that I can't remember where it is.
No,
Down
that's
that
your
side.
name.
No,
okay.
down the side.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on the frame.
Oh, here.
No, it's a nice piece. It'd be nicer if it was the original. It'd be nicer if it was the original, but as a print, it's still $1,000 because we get a lot of prints like the Birds and the Batemans and all that kind of stuff, which they go for $100, $200.
Well, we rescued it from the garbage because my sister was throwing it out when my mother was moved. So that's how we got it.
Now I'm a big fan of you. I got to shake your hand. Thank you. Thank you for bringing it down.
All right. And last but not least,
if with this here, I'd have to rip off the backs because there's no signatures we can see on the front. We think we know who it's done by. I had it written down over
Kazu Nakamura.
K. Nakamura, which is part of a local Toronto group. This, if it's original, I would have to do some work on it. If it's original.
Well, is it an original?
I don't know.
When you bought it, would you buy it as original or as a print?
I can't remember.
How much did you pay for it?
And I don't remember that. It was in the 60s. My husband and I bought it in Toronto.
Okay. Now, this goes back to what I tell people when they have stuff around the house. While we're still remembering stuff, we have to write it on the backs of all what we have. If you're going to hand the stuff down to your kids and you're going to say, I don't remember, and they're going to say, okay, it's nice, and we're just going to put it in a garage sale. It'd be much better if you say, I bought this for this time period. It had the signature on the back. You know what I mean? Okay, we have to put the name of the artist, the size of the piece, whether it's original, and then it'll sell a lot better. but this is going to be stuff. Yes?
The time frame is right. He started working in the 50s. If she bought it in the 60s, it's unlikely to have been lithoed by then. And the price for something that size, $2,000 to $3,000 right now.
$2,000 to $3,000. Do you remember if that was more than you paid?
Yes, it would be.
That was a leading question.
It would be, yes.
Okay. So on that, like you would have bought for $50 or $100 back then, probably?
I don't know that, but I do believe that I bought it from a fellow on Markham
$2,000 to $3,000.
Street.
Okay, $2,000 to $3,000. But we have to find out if it's authentic. If it's authentic, then you could consign it or keep it.
Okay.
But I want to emphasize the story of how you got this. Tell them, write it down, especially if it's something you're going to give them and not sell to me.
All right, well, when we come back, we'll take a look at some popular music items and more. That's next.
These four together are probably worth about $10,000. Probably the most expensive Beatle item ever sold, and people will remember this that saw the Beatles at the time. The famous Ludwig drum that said the Beatles, that went for $2 million.
Some interesting music-related items people have brought in, starting with 4 original Beatles autographs.
That's correct. The Beatles collectibles are almost their own industry, obviously. They're such an iconic moment of the last century. So these are autographs all done on index cards, which was quite common for autograph collectors at the time, would get index cards and get them signed. So it'd be worth more if they were all on one, but they're all individual. Now, what you have to do, there's so many phony Beatle autographs out there, they're everywhere. You have to get them authenticated. So these were actually done by Beckett, which is a company, again, in Colorado that does authentication along with PSA and JSA. And we send these down to them, and then they grade them as well. These are such beautiful autographs. Everything's ranked out of 10. The McCartney and the Harrison are 9s, and the Ringo and the John Lennon are 8s. Now,
what makes it more valuable, that they're alive and or
well,
dead?
it's all scarcity. So John Lennon's the most scarce because he died first, right? So there's less of him around. John and Paul would be worth a bit more. They're sort of the A level. Harrison's B, Ringo C. Ringo is a $300-400 autograph. I'd never sell it for that because I'd want to keep the 4 together. Right. So these 4 together are probably worth about $10,000, authenticated like this. Now, if you had them all in an album, say, you know, nicely signed and authenticated, could be up to $50,000. And then probably the most expensive Beatle item ever sold, and people will remember this that saw the Beatles at the time, the famous Ludwig drum that said the Beatles, said Ludwig, that went for $2 million, which is probably the single most expensive Beatle item that's been sold. So people always collect Beatles, but you have to really watch for authenticity.
How long do you think you'll sit on these for before they sell?
I've never tried to sell them, but I could move them tomorrow if I wanted to. It's just a matter of what price I want to get.
If someone in the audience wants to buy them for $10,000,
yeah, they're gone today. I'm not taking them home.
All right, let's move on. What's this Elvis thing that we've
So
got next?
this is Elvis at Maple Leaf Gardens. Now, he rarely traveled. He did have to go to Germany with the U.S. military. So the only concerts played outside of the U.S. were at Maple Leaf Gardens. This is the photo of him playing. And the interesting thing that helps is it has the news service stamped on the back, which helps let you know that this is a real photo from that era. Right now, I could probably sell this for about $150, but if it's slabbed as a Type 1 authentic, probably $500 to $800 would be worth.
Okay.
And lastly, here's another item where we've got it slabbed. It's a Woodstock ticket. So the problem with tickets with Woodstock is that halfway through the first day, it became a free event because all the gates got knocked down. And so there's tens of thousands, if not 100,000 tickets left over. And because of the release and so many coming out, it might be worth $200.
All right. Okay, well, let's move on to this figurine because I really am fascinated at how the value of these figurines has declined over the years. When this was purchased, what would it have cost?
This was a gift from my father to me as the daddy's little girl, and value, I have no idea.
Okay, I thought it was adult when I first saw it, but then I saw the flowers. Or with figurines like this, even one little chip will bring it from, if it was a $50 figure, down to a $3 figure. As a Limoges, if I had this in the shop, yeah, I would probably put it out at, I'd be happy to give $50. It just, and it's probably got more sentimental value. Like, you would have bought this probably for $75 back in the 60s.
Well, I too have a daughter, so I'll pass it down to her. She's a
Hang
special
on to
needs
that.
individual.
Write the story.
Yes.
Tell her how you got it and what they're supposed to think about it as well.
Perfect. Thank
It makes
you.
you smile,
All right,
okay?
Thank you. Okay, so right next to that figurine is a tiny little teddy bear. And she may not look that expensive, but it turns out she is.
It's a rattle. This is a stife with the pin. The pin should be right there in the ear. So it's guaranteed to be a stife. Actually, the way the long arms like that and the shorter legs, it's a little bit of wear to this, but hear that? This is the rattle, okay? This here, if I was selling this would go between $600 and $800. I have never seen one like this. You usually see the bigger ball, and they go up to $10,000. So in auction, it might even go higher. Depends if you want to sell it.
Family heirloom, passed down.
Okay, now tell them the story. Don't lose the pin. It's a nice, beautiful piece.
Know that in 2020 it was valued at $800?
U.S.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now let's move over to this slab of wood over here because this has a really interesting story.
Uh-oh.
So what have we got here?
Well, it's a homemade cribbage board. It belonged to my grandfather. My family's from Newfoundland, and one of his buddies gave it to him. And the story is that it's a piece of flotsam from the wreckage of the Titanic. And my mother said he never left the house without it. And I learned that it's made out of teak. Oh, and I wrote the Titanic Museum, and they said that the Minya and the McKay Bennett went out and did salvaging. My grandfather worked on another boat called the John McKay, and she said if you could prove there was a connection between him and the boys that were doing the salvaging, it would be a lot easier to prove.
Is that a plaque on the end of it, or
It's actually, it's for the pegs.
Oh, okay.
The pegs inside, so I guess that's what.
So it's
copper
not
maybe?
engraved in any way?
It's folk art for
No,
sure.
it's not engraved. And somebody scratched in Titanic, but that was probably one of the kids in the family. But
gaming boards were very common for the wreckage of Titanic, along with picture frames. There was other things that were out there. And just recently, actually, a few weeks ago, a deck chair sold. The deck chair that sold recently went for $50,000. Titanic stuff has its own price, but it's all provenance. And that's the difficulty with that piece that...
But, I mean, isn't there a way to check the age, whether it was in salt
you
water?
could. That's expensive, though, to get the age checked on
Okay.
wood. It could be done.
Yeah.
The salt water, I don't know. That's another possibility. I'd go through the name first, try and find as much as you can about that gentleman to start there. Like, I would say if that had an ironclad provenance, and that would have to be a letter from someone who survived or something like that, it could be worth $25,000.
Wow.
But as a possibility...
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, maybe $500 or something, right?
It's a great story, though.
It's a good story.
All right, well, thank you very much
Okay,
for bringing
you're
that in.
welcome.
And last but not least, we've got a couple Harley-Davidson items. This belongs to you?
Yes.
Okay, what have we got?
So my mom has been collecting Harley-Davidson stuff for a long time. We have several hundred boxes of like clothing, and I have this gas tank. And I just want to know where we're sitting on with everything.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
They're all the same?
Quite a fan. Harley-Davidson.
They all
There's a
same
variety.
size?
There's a variety of like
Sizes?
medium and large for sure.
Do you think that these would be more valuable than this?
Yep.
The sweaters are more valuable than
Well,
the actual
it depends on how many, because some of these Harley-Davidson ones will go for up to $300-400.
Wow.
Because some of the early ones, because people wore them, washed them. So in this case here, these are in amazing condition. And they are collectible. Someone will want them. If they don't have them, it's like this one here. We know exactly when this is going to be. We can date this one here. So this is going to sell for $25-35. In the stores, they're $50 and $100 in some of them. And if they're authentic, this is for 2008. Now, it doesn't seem like it, but that's 12 years old. Who's going to have a 12-year-old T-shirt that hasn't been worn yet? So you got to figure this is going to be $20, $30, $40. How many do you have of these?
I want to say like 300 shirts. 250
300.
shirts. Yeah, we have a lot of boxes full of shirts.
So out of that, someone's got 300. There's going to be a couple that are going to be worth $100, $200.
How long has she been collecting them? Do you know?
I'd say probably like beginning in the 90s.
Okay.
She has a lot that
she's
go.
probably not going to get big numbers, but if you have the 70s and 60s ones, then they're worth big money.
Okay, very quickly, how much is this worth?
Gas tank, you know, it's $100, $200. That'll be it on it. The shirts are worth more, much more.
All right,
I'd
well,
rather have the pile of shirts, you know.
Perfect. Well, thank you.
Thanks for bringing that in. All right,
This is 2000.
When we come back, final thoughts from our panelists. That's next.
Don't forget, for free tickets to the show, go to www.universe.com and search Zoomer Media and log on to www.thezoomertv.com for full episodes and more.
Welcome back to the Zoomer. It's time for final thoughts from our panelists. We'll start to my left. Go ahead.
What we've heard everyone say is, when you don't know what you have, don't throw it away, don't give it away. Get someone who knows what they're doing to check it, because you might have money.
If you don't have an expert, try searching just simple keywords into Google, eBay, very, very minimal things. Stife, Bear, 1900s, something. It's very easy to find the item.
If you have items that you think might be worth getting authenticated, it's definitely worth going to one of the big players or dealers that work in that industry, because we have better pipelines into the authenticators, and we don't have to necessarily buy the item. We could do the work for you, but it'll save you a lot of money and as well give you a better chance of getting a truthful answer on it.
I don't know everything, but I have friends who do. And if you want to sell something, come on into Consignment Heroes in Richmond Hill.
All right, fantastic. Well, thank you to my panelists for being here and for the audience. That's all the time we have. We'll see you soon. It's time to zoom out.